Hello. This is basically a recording of the presentation that was given at the Adult Skater Information Sessions held by CBRD throughout Ashland in March of 2016. So who are we? Chequamegon Bay Junior Roller Derby, or CBJRD, started in 2013 through a partnership with Ashland Parks and Recreation to begin the first youth derby program in our region. We focus on skaters between the ages of 7 to 17, and our mission is to nurture self-confidence, teamwork, leadership skills, community pride, and physical fitness in young athletes of all genders through the competitive sport of roller derby. But what about adults? Currently, the only people over 18 in the league are the coaches. In 2016, we began looking to train adult referees. After conversations with parents in the community, we agreed that we would also consider teaching adult skater skills. The end goal will be to start an independent adult roller derby league in the Chequamegon Bay region. So what is flat track roller derby? In 2001, they took the traditional bank track roller derby and reinvented it as a flat track game that could be played pretty much anywhere with a large flat surface. Today, there are over 500 flat track leagues worldwide. The majority of these are affiliated with one of the largest three governing bodies, the WFTDA, or the Women's Flat Track Derby Association, the MRDA, which is the Men's Roller Derby Association, or the Junior Derby Organization, JRDA. It's played on a flat speed track that can be laid out on basketball courts, hockey rinks, and convention center floors. It's played in two 30-minute periods made up of 2-minute jams. Although a league's charter can have any number of skaters, only 14 skaters can be presented on a roster at any one game. Each jam, which is about 2 minutes long, starts with 4 blockers from each team on the track. We call this group the pack. Each team also fields one skater who's identified by a big star on their helmet. This is the jammer. They are the skater who scores points by passing the opponents. The first jammer through the pack may become eligible for lead jammer. That earns them the ability to call off the jam without playing a full 2 minutes. So, who gets to participate in roller derby? Basically, almost anyone who wants to. Skaters can come in every shape and size. Every body type has a place somewhere within roller derby. Generally, it's about finding your strengths and then playing to them. Large skaters may have the power, small skaters may have the agility, and somewhere in between, you've got an entire team of roller derby skaters. You also have referees. They also participate on skates, but they generally play at a lower contact level, or at least they hope so. Referees must be proficient skaters, and they pass their own set of minimum skills, but they also need to know the rules and be confident enough to apply them, sometimes in a tough situation. Non-skating officials, or NSOs, are also an essential part of any roller derby league. NSOing allows people who may not be able to skate or even interested participating on skates to still play a vital role within the league. NSOs are needed for scrimmaging and bouting. They track time, jam starts, penalties, score, skaters on the track, and a variety of other statistics that are vital to make sure the games go smoothly. So, what does a boot camp look like? Boot camps basically cover the basic skills that are needed to start learning the game of roller derby. They run about 6 to 8 weeks, and generally you practice at least twice a week. Skaters at any level can learn the basics. You can come from a strong background, or this could be your first time trying to get around the track more than 2 times. Our league uses the minimum skill requirements that are set forth by the WFTDA and the MRDA, and then at the junior level, we use the JRDA minimum skill standards. At CBJRD, we also focus specifically on making well-rounded skaters. We try a little of everything. At every practice, we attempt to incorporate drills that improve strength, flexibility, balance, and physical endurance. This can be done through time trials and distance skates or through prolonged core work. What we also do at CBRJ to be well-rounded is to challenge our limits in unfamiliar settings. We do things like trail skates, street skates, we play in parades. We also like to go to the skate parks when weather permits. And then, of course, we visit the roller rink in Duluth because there's nothing more fun than just going and showing off to a lot of music. So, at the end of the boot camp, will you be Bonnie Thunders? Nope. Basically, boot camp is to give you a solid understanding of whether you want to continue. Some people may come in with a skating background. At the end of 6 to 8 weeks, they can pass the minimum skills and they're ready to go. Most people need a little longer. But after 12 practices, you're going to know if this is something you actually want to keep working on. So that's part of what the boot camp does. Boot camp also helps us rank our skaters out. So as the league continues, we know what group to put you in. We can then have separate practices for people who need different skill sets reinforced. So how does that league work long term after those first 6 weeks then? Basically, they become a sports club. They have a board of directors. They form committees to handle things like recruitment and training and fundraising. Facilities are covered through monthly membership dues, and then as you get towards bouting, there may be attendance requirements to either hold positions or to roster for games. Community service is also an important part of pretty much every roller derby league in the modern world. We find that it's important to be involved with our communities, and so far it's working pretty well for us. Teams can have various structures. If you have enough people, it's always beneficial to form home team levels. This enables you to form 2 teams, be them temporary or long-term, that compete against each other locally without having to compete with other leagues. Usually, every league will also then form travel teams. Although they may form a co-ed travel teams are generally single gender. So you'll put out a charter of female skaters that would go and compete like at Harbor City or Keweenaw or Iron Range Maiden, which are some of the leagues in our area. Or you could form an all-men charter to go compete against Twin Cities, Milwaukee, Green Bay. There are fewer opportunities for men in our immediate region, but we're working on changing that. They also make co-ed scrimmage with other leagues in our area. It just won't rank. But how long does it take to actually get to play? That is completely dependent on who you have. If you have core skaters with previous experience, then you can generally get up and going faster. So if you have a lot of people with either just skating experience, or especially if you have about 6 to 8 people with hockey experience. Hockey is one of the sports that translates very quickly into roller derby. So if you have this core group, you can get off the ground and running. And then if you have a following group that is committed to learning, working hard at practice, you'll generally have 10 to 14 skaters in under a year. We like to say that it's better to take longer than to go hard, fast, and burn out immediately. So we like to say that it's going to take 12 to 18 months until you can forward a charter for interleague play. However, even with a somewhat newer team, you're usually at the level of scrimmaging within 6 to 9 months. If you have that core group of skaters who can learn gameplay quickly, you can be interleague competing within a year. But then there's the part that everyone says, great, I'm on board, I want to play roller derby. But the question is, how much is it going to cost me? The estimated costs for an initial 6-week boot camp through Ashland Parks and Recreation is currently set at about $50 per person. If we have enough people, the camp could potentially be expanded to 8 weeks for a similar price. After those initial weeks, generally members have monthly membership dues. They're about $25 to $30 per month, depending on the number of people in the leagues. This money covers the basic operating costs of the league for things like insurance and mostly for practice facility space. Before a league is able to bout with other leagues, they will have to obtain liability insurance through one of the major roller sports underwriters. There also is an individual policy required for each of these. That runs about $70 to $75 per calendar year. Whether or not this is paid by the individual or the league generally is based on the league's fundraising statuses. Fundraising is definitely helpful. The most expensive part of starting up is the skates and the gear. At CBJRD, our loaner bin is pretty much all kids stuff. We have a very limited amount of knee pads and elbow pads that can fit an average-sized adult or larger. We have no helmets. We also do not have extra skates. Our skates are all for very tiny feet. Your first pair of quad skates is generally going to run between $100 and $160. Skates that are typical for beginners would be the GT50s by SureGrip or the R3s by Rydell. Keep in mind that not everyone starts on a starter pair of skates. You can have an odd-shaped foot, which especially would require a different setup. Basically, skates can run anywhere from about $250 to $300 for a mid-range skate. Most people don't necessarily invest this amount right off the bat if they don't think they may keep skating long-term. There's also your helmet. In roller derby, we need multi-impact sports helmets. You can't use a bike helmet because in the United States, these are generally only rated for impacts on the front of the head. The reality is when you're skating, you're inevitably going to hit the back and side of your heads as well. For this reason, we need a multi-impact or a dual-rated helmet. Hockey helmets also work for this purpose. Then you need knee, elbow, and wrist guards. Basically, we tell people not to skimp on the knee pads, but even then, it's really a personal preference as to what they like. The 3 are often sold in a starter pack together, or you can mix and match and get a discount when you buy them all at once online through a beginner's rookie pack. The elbow pads are the ones that you generally replace the least. They get the least beat up. Also, at the breading center where we skate, knee pads do get coated in a layer of PTFE tape. So this is one of those things you buy at the first practice. It generally runs a couple bucks. It'll be paid in cash to the coach. This protects the breading center floor from large amounts of scuffing and scratching, which would effectively lose our practice space. We use mouth guards as well when practicing. These can range anywhere from $5 to $25, depending on a brand and style. When you're first trying it out, people usually go to any sporting goods or major chain outlet like Walmart, spend, $1 to $4. As you decide you're going to stick with the sport, most people then will go and get either a custom fit mouth guard through their dentist, or a Sisu mouth guard is very popular one as well. They run $20 to $25. If you have braces, dentures, or other types of orthodontia, we recommend that you contact your orthodontist because generally you can get a mouth guard made through them. You can get skates and gear. The local, and I put that in quotes, skate shops in our area are both in the Twin City. So Twin Cities stores are Roller Revolution and Derby for All. They are owned and managed by roller derby skaters and referees from Minnesota Roller Girls and North Star Roller Girls, the two leagues in the Twin Cities. In the Duluth Superior area, you have World of Wheels. They do sell the skates. And then Damage Board Shop has helmets and pads generally. World of Wheels is in Superior on Oaks and Banks. And then Damage is up in Duluth. Online, popular stores are Derby Smack, Bruce Boutique, Cincinnati Skates, Fast Girl Skates, Derby Warehouse online, basically Google search. Bruce Boutique does have some pretty good rookie packages that give you dimensions. They let you mix and match. They are one of the better places to get like that starter set, which is why we always make sure they are on the list. So, what do you do now? So you want to play a roller derby. What we're looking at is, do we have the numbers for a boot camp this spring? At the moment, we think we do. We're hoping to start about the second week in May, which is when the junior derby session ends. To find out more about when we update this stuff, you're going to need to get your email on our radar. We have a Google contact form. There are links to it posted on the front page of the CBJRD website and also on our Facebook page, which is basically Chequamegon Bay Junior Roller Derby, or CBJRD. Like our Facebook page. Right now, since the boot camp is running through the Junior Derby League, we are going to be posting updates, events, and information on that page. There is not a separate page for the Adult Derby League at this point. There is, however, a roller derby group on Facebook that you can join. This is a social group for people who are interested in the boot camp or taking the boot camp to share links about gear, information, advice, etc. So you can send a request to join that. That group is Chequamegon Bay Roller Derby. If you type that in, you should be able to find it. So the other part is tell all your friends. The more people that we have, the more reasonable expenses are for the league, the closer we get to competition, and also the more fun we have. The last bit of advice is get moving. It's been a long, weird winter up here. Basically, if you're like me, your winter has consisted of thinking really hard about working out and eating pizza. Although pizza is great, it isn't the most important part of training. So start just walking. It's getting warmer. Get out there. Maybe walk up and down the stairs twice in the morning. The reality is you don't have to be a top athlete in order to get into roller derby. We don't expect people to come into the boot camp fit marathon runners ready to hit the wall running. So what we do want is to limit injuries. The more that your muscles are warmed up, your joints are flexible, and you've kind of come out of that winter hibernation mode, the less likely you are to have a dumb fall that hurts something. So just start moving now. It'll make everything easier in May. So what did we forget? I'm sure there's plenty of things. You can't ask us now. Although I guess you could comment on the video. But this is the presentation that was done live. What you can do is post to that Chequamegon Bay Roller Derby group once you've joined. We do have people that'll monitor those to try and answer questions. You can also message CBJRD directly through their Facebook page. The email for adult league questions is adultleague@cbjrd.org. We really want to give a special, extra, fantastic Derby fabulous shout out to Ryan Quick at Quick and Derby. Basically, we said we need pictures, and he let us basically go and gank a lot of his playoff photos from last year, and they are fabulous. He has a lot of amazing stuff. If you go to his Facebook albums, and from there you can link to other websites of his. So definitely check them out. There are a lot of great pictures, not just of roller derby championships, but also local leagues, because he tends to cover Harbor City Roller Team's IRM. He's the official photographer for Roller Underground, which is Virginia Eveleth. So you can also kind of see what roller derby looks like in our area, not just at the top elite level. Congratulations, you've just sat through 20 minutes of me talking. Basically, now you want to go and join the Facebook group. You want to like us on Facebook and fill out that Google contact form. We'll try and start getting links for gear and equipment in that Facebook group, and we'll try and get that spring boot camp set up. So thanks, and we'll see you on the track.